back. The topic was dashing, it was glamorous, it was, insert your own adjective here, but like so many objects of affection, it had proved elusive. Until Colin. Colin's great-great etc. grandfather had been one of those masked men. Under his chosen fleur de guerre, the purple gentian, Lord Richard Selwick, had dashed around Europe in tights, rescuing aristocrats from the clutches of the guillotine. Colin liked to point out that at the time they had been called pantaloons, not tights. But a man in tights is a man in tights, call it what you will. Nothing says buckle and swash like a pair of skin-tight leg coverings. Besides, a man who chooses to name himself after a flower can't be too picky about his pantaloons. Whatever their choice in leg wear, I was very extremely grateful to Colin's flowery ancestors. If they hadn't kept copious journals and letters, I wouldn't be where I was now, with Colin and the rudiments of a dissertation. I certainly wouldn't be in Paris. "Where are we meant to find the shuttle?" asked Colin. I consulted the instructions the woman from the hotel had given me. She said it would be outside baggage claim. That must be it. Colin nudged me towards a van-like conveyance. The driver pitched his cigarette out the window, wearily extracted himself from the front seat, and trudged around to open the back of the van so Colin could pitch our bags in, a quilted overnight bag for me, a big, complicated leather folding thing for him. "Hôtel Minerve?" I said hopefully. The driver grunted and set the car into gear. Okay, I'd take that as a yes. If he wanted to take us somewhere else, that was fine with me. Just as long as it wasn't the Georges V. Jeremy, Colin's stepfather, who liked to do people favors they didn't want, had booked us into the famous and ridiculously expensive hotel. We had cancelled the reservation and booked ourselves into the much cheaper Hôtel Minerve over on the West Bank. Neither of us was exactly flush with funds. Me because I was living on a graduate student stipend, Colin because he was supporting a money-sucking estate. A grad student at the Georges V? So not happening. Colin's stepfather hadn't been pleased by this decision. Jeremy had an agenda for the weekend, and we were getting in the way of it. I wasn't entirely sure what that agenda was, although I suspected it was only partly about Colin's mother. Legitimation? Proving his place as head of the family? The latter was pretty ridiculous, given that Jeremy was only 8 years older than Colin. Yes, Colin's stepfather was a fair chunk younger than Colin's mother. I suppose this might be a good time to add that Colin's stepfather also happened to be his second cousin. Jeremy was Colin's great-aunt's grandson, and he had run off with Colin's mother pretty much on Colin's father's deathbed. If you're having trouble following that, don't worry. It's not just you. As Colin had pointed out to me on a prior occasion, it was all very economical. By combining cousin and stepfather in one, he saved on the Christmas gifts. Kind of like 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, only with more years of therapy involved. It was all more than a little reminiscent of the more improbable sort of soap opera plot. I could only hope that I wasn't heading for kidnapping by the mafia, or a 3-episode-long bout of amnesia, in which I would find myself embroiled with Colin's evil twin. For the record, Colin has no evil twin. At least, none that I know of. Yet. His sole sibling, the only one to whom he had confessed, is a sister named Serena. Serena had taken the whole cousin-stepfather thing a lot harder than Colin had. I had my own suspicions about Serena's relationship with Jeremy, but since that was going a little too soap opera, even for Colin's family, I'd kept them to myself. I could be wrong. I hoped I was wrong, and if I wasn't wrong, I didn't want to know. We'd booked Serena into the Minerve with us. Not in the same room, of course. I'd been tempted to ask if they could put her on a different floor. Not because I don't like Serena, but because there's something distinctly off-putting about knowing your boyfriend's sister is just one thin layer of plaster away. This might not exactly be a romantic dream weekend, but I still hoped to salvage